Hey friends, welcome back. If you've ever tried to render beeswax, you're going to learn pretty quick it's really easy to make a big giant mess. I've tried a couple different ways, maybe 4, maybe 5 different ways. With the quantities that I have, being such a new beekeeper, all my quantities are small. The mess that I end up making far outweighs the process. It just doesn't work for me. Continued my research, I found a way that works really well. I want to share it with you guys tonight. You start off the whole process by baking your wax in the oven. You will need to construct a small box. This was made with some 1x2 scrap lumber that I had out in the garage and some 1/4-inch hardware cloth stapled to the back to make basically like a little filter box. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is wax that I've rendered once before, but as you can see, it still has a lot of wax in it. There's also a lot of junk in it, which we don't want. We want to separate the two. So once you have your box, the other thing you're going to need is a small pan with about 1 inch of water in the bottom. You want a pan that's about the same size as your screen. If your screen's a little bit bigger, that's okay. I typically, when I take this whole contraption and place it in the oven, I'll put a cookie sheet on the bottom just to make sure if any wax drips off of this part that doesn't have a pan under it, it's not going to hit the bottom of my oven and make a big mess, because the whole point of this is to not make a big giant mess. So with your setup like this, you got your pan, you got about 1 inch of water, you have your screen box here that sits on top. Next thing you need is a single layer of paper towels. Now, don't be tempted to double layer this. It's really not needed, and in fact it actually has negative effects because it slows down the wax dripping through the paper towel too much, and you actually lose some wax from that because once it gets stuck in that paper towel, it's not going to come out. You want it to go through the paper towel as easy as it can down into the bottom. So this is our wax that we have. I've already rendered this once, but as you can see, it still has a lot of wax in it and a lot of junk. So the point behind this is get rid of the junk, keep the wax. The junk will stay up on top of the paper towel, the wax will go down through and sit in the water. Once it gets in the water, it's going to float up to the top. So just spread this out a little bit. Now if you had a massive quantity of wax, you know, like, this is probably not the solution for you. Keep things small, keep things reasonable. This amount is actually very small for this. The first time I did this, I had a lot more wax, quantity-wise, but I've rendered it. This will be the second time now. So with that, oven temperature set to 200 and 200 only. Paper towel. Most papers all have a flash point of about 451 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going to stick our oven at 200. It's plenty of heat to melt the wax without causing a risk to papers catching on fire, your wood burning. Most woods have a flash point anywhere between 600 for soft woods, all the way up to 900 degrees or more for hardwoods like certain oaks. So it is safe, but that doesn't mean this is something that you're going to want to do before bed and throw it in your oven and go to sleep for the night. You want to make sure you're home, keep an eye on things, and all should go smooth. I'm going to kick my oven on. We're going to throw this in the oven, and we'll be back in a little bit, and I'll show you how it all turns out. All right, we are done. How long do I let this bake in the oven? Anywhere between 4 to 6 hours, depending on how much wax you actually have and how big your pile of material is. It takes some time. You need to be patient. Give the heat a chance to melt the wax and give the gravity a chance to pull the wax down through the paper towel. You can see what we ended up with. You'll see a lot of wax got stuck in the paper towel. It's actually starting to harden. Don't throw this away. This black stuff, this is all the junk that we extracted out of our wax. This is the garbage. If it's your first time rendering this down, you can do this a second time depending on how much wax is in there. This time I'm going to toss mine. The paper towels, When you're done with that, don't toss it out. What you're gonna end up with, and I tear mine into little pieces like this, wax coated pieces of paper towel that are just about the ultimate fire starter. You throw a flame to this and you got 4 to 5 minutes of great burn. Keep some next to your fireplace for when you need to start fires. Take some camping with you for getting your campfires going. Great stuff. You lose some wax when you do this because it gets stuck in the paper towel, but it doesn't go to waste if you keep it. So in our pan, what you end up with is the wax will go down into the water. It'll all float to the surface, and then when it hardens, you'll end up with pieces of pure wax. If you do enough of it, you'll end up with a sheet that looks like this. All the impurities are removed, all that black junk, and what you end up with is pure beeswax. So it's a pretty simple process. Like I said, not a lot of mess, a little bit of waste, but you don't have to throw this in the garbage. You can keep this stuff. That's about all there is to it. It's pretty simple, like I said. No messy filters to work with, and pretty happy with this method. I've tried 3 or 4. By far the easiest if you can be patient. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next video.